Okay, and we will be right back with you.
In the meme, hits your eye like a bride to pizza pie. That's a memoir.
Okay, good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Got a little behind this morning, so actually, here's what happened. I was all set to do, or I thought I was all set to do a show about this thing that's trending on Twitter in conjunction with Me More Monday. Because there's trending on Twitter right now is this thing about the 93%, and it's something about Washington. The Washington Post has a poll out that says 93% of Democrats want to see Donald Trump prosecuted for his crimes, and I was going to kind of go down the rabbit hole on would you like to mention any crimes in particular? Because I keep hearing this, like, oh, he needs to answer for his crimes. Which crimes? Would you care to mention some? And they don't. But then I discovered as I was getting ready for it that basically every statistic that comes out of the lefties, not everyone, but a crap load of the stats coming out of the lefties are 93%. And there's apparently just this whole rabbit hole of conspiracy theory around that I'm just going to have to look into. So then I had to redirect the show and change the thumbnail and figure the rest of this thing out. So anyway, basically that's what put us running behind. And for the rest of our kind of housekeeping this morning,
Look under artists. Scroll back up.
We're
Scroll.
gonna do. Okay, this is from the Rockdale Citizen, local newspaper, our community fish wrapper.
Look at photographer. See, there it is.
And we're gonna ask our lovely people to come in here and
then there's hers.
if y'all could go vote, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat right now. Do us and our friend a favor and go vote for Krista as the best photographer in the Rockdale Citizen, the Rockdale Newton Citizen. That's right, because they the old fish wrapper got too small and had to expand itself. But yeah, go vote. I will be voting, and I will not be sharing the email address that I'm voting with.
That's probably a good idea.
So I'm going to set that aside, and I'll take care of that in a minute. Because, you know, you only need to listen to me clacking away on the old bones so much in a given morning. Now,
yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, just respond to a couple of things that you said, and then have a little patter to get us from point A to point B. So, first of all, when they say, oh, do you want to see Donald Trump prosecuted for his crimes? They've never been entirely clear on exactly what Donald Trump did. Like, they'll throw the word treason and insurrection around in regard to January 6th, but going all the way back to the 2016 election, there's always just been this vague, collusion with Russia.
Right, and we've talked about that a lot. Phrases like collusion, they use whisker words like that to avoid making an accusation of an actual crime, because collusion is an activity.
Hey,
but conspiracy to defraud is an actual crime. But when you actually accuse somebody of a crime, false accusation is also a crime.
Hey, real quick, I see people in the chat congratulating Krista. She hasn't won yet.
You have to go vote for her.
That's
first.
why I'm asking. That's why we want you guys to go vote for her. This will really help raise her profile. And look, I don't feel bad about this. She's literally got 20 years of experience and has won other awards. She just wants to focus on the local area, and this would help a lot. So let's see. It's Meme War Monday, so we're gonna get a new Fit Life with Danielle, which is good news. It has become required Monday viewing for me, at least.
Yeah.
Because there's like I said, there's just some talk, some stream of consciousness. There's a mental health concept. There's a workout. And Danny doesn't play with the workout thing. Like she busts that core. And then there's a recipe, and it's usually something very tasty, but done in a very healthy way. So there's that. And then the dogs did fantastic this weekend. Started out kind of slow, but by the end of the game, it was 42-10. So it was rather decisive, which is good to see. And then finally, I don't think that this is appropriate for Woke Wednesday, even though it would be appropriate for Woke Wednesday. Brother, I watched the new Hellraiser movie this weekend, and it was actually kind of good.
See, okay, so I haven't actually watched it yet. I intend to, and I have some suspicions about kind of the critical analysis on this, because one of the things with the new Hellraiser movie, of course, you know, they did do the wokey thing where they gender swapped somebody.
No, they didn't. But if you've read the source material,
yes, they did. They went, and I got you.
All right.
But they did gender swap at least the actor playing the character Pinhead. But this is an example where the gender of the character actually isn't a relevant factor necessarily, right? Because Pinhead is not human, right? And and some other stuff there, but like, race swapping Spider-Man, like we've talked about, the personal historical experience of a character of one race and another either is very different, in which case you can't have a race swapped character and it be the same character, or it's not very different, in which case your gesture is meaningless. Either way, it doesn't make sense to do the race swap, the gender swap, the whatever swap with individual characters. It makes more sense to, I don't know, write a new character, write a new story, maybe have an original thought instead of just rely on stealing from other people.
Well, it's actually possible to do.
Shaggy.
Well, look, that's actually possible to do because they, when it first appeared that Doomsday had killed Superman, there was this group of Supermen.
Yeah, the reign of the Supermen. Yeah.
Yes, and one was black, and one was a kid, and one was a cyborg. You know, and each one of those had slightly different perspectives.
Oh, and the other one was an asshole. Remember the Kryptonian?
Yes.
He was just an asshole.
He wasn't wrong. Dead murderers don't murder.
I agree.
Dead criminals don't reoffend. But anyhow, it's possible to even play with that kind of thing. But look, I was just going to say that if it's your thing, it's pretty good. There's some parts where I feel like it showed its budget limitations. Like a solid third of the movie all takes place on one set. Now, it's a gorgeous set. If you and I had access to it, we'd film a third of our movie on it too. But I couldn't help but notice, I was like, man, this whole thing just takes place basically in this room.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes half your budget goes to one song and you make Reservoir Dogs.
That's a little different. But the protagonist is female, and there's even a couple of gay characters in the movie, but none of that is shoved in your face.
Right.
Instead, it's just a allegory about how addiction is self-destructive. And it's pretty effective, but definitely NSFW, and I'm going to give it at a minimum PG-13, and you probably, your mileage may vary. You may want to have a hard NC-17 for this flick at your house. So there's all that. I feel like we've pattered enough. Can we meme dump, and because it's Columbus Day.
It is Columbus Day.
And we got to get to that as well.
I want to start with Columbus Day, and I'm actually going to pull something from the infamous thread for the other piece.
There's a Columbus Day thing. Hey, look, the Fit Life with Danielle just joined us, and she must have just joined us because yeah, I know I should have just included it in the meme dump, but something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Oh, of course something's wrong. Because of course.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe we should take a day and just clean up all these cords. But we know the Fit Life with Danielle just joined us because she missed all the part where we gushed all over how amazing she is. But since the Fit Life with Danielle just joined us, hey, there's a link in the chat. If you've still got it copy pasted, maybe drop it again. Go vote for Krista Ellington for the best local photographer.
I also added the link to the description, so it's easy to find.
Yeah, so if you're getting here late, go vote for Krista. It's the link's in the description.
But you're right, it is Columbus Day.
We'll
Indigenous
get there.
Peoples Day. Think of all the people we fucking lost. I wasn't ready for that one, man.
It's just funny.
There's no analysis here. That's just funny stuff. But before we get to the meme dump, I wanted to cover, and now it's way further back in the thread than I wanted it to be. Damn it, you people talk a lot.
Boy,
there.
Pot meet kettle.
Speaking of pot, President Joe Biden, as I've said before, Jack, no one should be in jail for just using or possessing marijuana. Today I'm taking steps to end our failed approach. Allow me to lay them out. First, pardoning all prior federal offenses for marijuana possession. I'm going to summarize, basically summarize. Pardoning all prior federal offenses for simple marijuana possession. Second, calling on governors to pardon simple state marijuana possession offenses. Third, we classify marijuana at the same level as heroin and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. I'm asking HHS Secretary Becerra, whatever, and the Attorney General to initiate the process of reviewing how marijuana is scheduled under federal law.
Whoa! I had just a reminder to the people that just joined us. Pancho Ramirez, go vote for Krista as the best photographer. Alex says TPS got deleted last night. No strike, just a repeated violations takedown.
Really?
Yeah, I wish I'd have known that sooner. And
I clarify. Did the channel get deleted or did the show?
He's posting as Alex McDonald, so I'm going to assume that the TPS report
channel got deleted,
got whacked, like it got Stefan Malnude.
No shit.
Yeah, look.
I wonder how we're still here. Because for real, we have skirted that line more than once.
Well, Alex would go on YouTube and say "fuck YouTube," like to YouTube while they were live on YouTube, and then delete the live stream afterwards. Like that's. He might have poked the bear just a little bit. Look, I know we got to talk about the pot thing. Can we roll over to the Arcana side for accounts? It didn't delete itself.
Hey, fish and golfing guns. Missed you. Go vote for Krista. Link in the description.
Can we roll over to the opening memes so that we actually have this discussion?
Yeah, this is definitely part of that discussion. Oh. When you put a bunch of people in jail for marijuana convictions and your running mate pardons them.
Okay, so obviously this is some of that pandery bullshit that the left is doing. At any point in time, Joe Biden could have issued this pardon, for starters.
Correct.
Okay. But no, look, pal, if you don't know why I pardoned a bunch of marijuana convictions, then you ain't black. I'm only half joking.
That makes a bizarre amount of sense coming out of his mouth.
Exactly.
So I don't know that I'm entirely on board with the pardons. I am entirely on board with eliminating, it's one thing to say decriminalizing marijuana. Let me be very clear about something. At no level in this country, in accordance with the U.S. Constitution, does a government entity have the authority to control the production, consumption, distribution, or possession of a substance. Full stop.
Yeah, especially a naturally occurring plant.
Right.
Like, let's not forget, and you can always tell the first time somebody gets slapped upside the head with this argument and they really process it. Like, when this country made alcohol illegal, we amended the Constitution to make it okay to make alcohol illegal. Because if we want to change how our government works, we're supposed to literally change how our government works.
Right.
It is.
The 18th Amendment was necessary because without amending the Constitution, prohibition was illegal. There was, in fact, a prohibition on prohibition. That's called the 10th Amendment. Any power not explicitly enumerated by the Constitution does not belong to the government.
Well, look, and this could be real easy, okay? Like, Congress right now could pass some type of, it wouldn't even have to be full legalization, okay? It could be they could still continue to pander, but they could also move the ball down the field. Just like we talked before where the Democrats could turn the abortion issue into a win and say, okay, we are going to just pick a number. Let's say 20 weeks. Democrats say, we are going to pass a bill that says you can have an abortion up to 20 weeks. Just bam. Okay. And then suddenly you're going to put the Republicans back on their heels. Now, a lot of the country would be more in favor of something along the 15-week mark, but whatever. They could do it. They could actually win that fight. They could do the same thing here. They could decriminalize. You know what? We're just going to take marijuana and we're going to pass a law that says possession of marijuana is never considered a felony, even if you're in, you're growing pounds of the shit in your greenhouse out back. They could do that, and they don't do that.
Lillibar points out that 20 weeks is halfway. Yes, it is halfway. It's not an adequate compromise, but it is better than the fourth trimester abortions that they're championing today.
Yeah, I know 20 weeks is halfway. I'm only using it as an example because they could do something similar here, where at a federal level they decriminalize marijuana, or honestly, all simple possession. Okay, but they don't, because they want the issue. I think this is a large part of why they hated Trump so bad. Trump was like, no, I'm actually going to move the ball down the field. Yeah. Fuck you guys that aren't trying to score points.
He doesn't want the issue. He
wants to win.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You'll get tired of winning. But, there's something that's really important to understand about a federal marijuana conviction. Let's say you go to Florida. You buy a bag of dope down in Florida. You don't smoke all that dope. You bring part of it back to... Oh my. That was amazing.
And while she's doing that, I'll unfreeze the video.
Anyhow, let's say you go to Florida. You buy a bag of dope down in Florida. You don't smoke all that dope while you're in Florida. You bring part of it back to Georgia with you. Okay? You have technically crossed state lines with a controlled substance.
Indeed.
Okay. The DEA is not going after you for any amount of marijuana that you would measure in grams.
Correct.
The DEA is probably...
Well, like Ron White said, he got arrested in Florida for having 7/8 of a gram of marijuana on him. And he said, when I have 7/8 of a gram of marijuana...
I'm out of pot.
I'm out of pot.
Yeah.
And besides, this is Florida. You had to drive by 3 meth labs and a dead hooker to get to here.
Right. But on the federal level, they're barely even paying attention to you if the amount of marijuana you're in possession of is measured in ounces.
Right.
They're looking for people with pounds. And look, while I think in and of itself, the distribution of marijuana is a dubious charge at best. That's one of those things that's like, it's kind of like kiddie porn. That's one you don't get accused of on accident very often.
Okay, I was suddenly really concerned about what direction you were going with that.
I'm just saying, look, I don't think it should be a federal crime. I don't think it should be
totally okay with somebody smoking pot.
No. Look, I'm just saying that it doesn't matter. See, you threw me for a loop.
Well, I mean, and seriously, I'm totally okay with somebody smoking pot. Personally, not my bag. Just not that. I'm just not that interested. Exactly.
You can have edibles.
I have,
and you can also get the vape pen things now.
I had edibles and a wonderful nap. Right, and that was a while ago. And hey, don't get it twisted. I'm old fat boy. A wonderful nap is a valuable thing, but I'm not into the smoking dope or whatever. But as a matter of law, as a matter of liberty, there is no authority for the government to control the substances. There is not a reasonable.
This flower is illegal, but that one's fine.
Right.
Sure thing, pal. I'm just saying, you don't catch a federal charge. Like,
you don't catch a federal charge for a Rasta joint.
That's right. You don't catch a federal charge for a bag of Rasta joints. You catch a federal charge for having pounds of the stuff vacuum sealed and wrapped up in trash bags that you're going to distribute to 3 different states. That's what you catch a federal charge for. And again, I mean, to be clear, I don't even think that should be a crime. Whenever
No, it should be an industry.
yeah, whenever you take a vice and you prohibit it, all you do is create a black market for that vice. You don't make the vice go away.
Yeah, there's a good argument to be made that if marijuana wasn't a controlled substance in the United States, Venezuela never would have fallen into communism.
So, but when you want to talk about just such a throwaway thing, everybody's pardoned for their federal how many people do you think out there are sitting in like some federal prison doing 7.5 years at a minimum before they're even allowed to come up for parole for just possession?
But what you're talking about right now, what you've just laid out right now, is basically what Biden has just said he's going to do is, I'm going to cut all the big drug dealers loose, and then I'm going to ask the states nicely, after all the big drug dealers are cut loose,
they're not going to get loose
and pardoned, all the guys out there that are sitting in a jail on state charges, and they are there over just a baggie or just an ounce or just a Rasta joint, maybe. So you're about to have a bunch of guys sitting in jail who are there on nonviolent drug charges, simple possession, that are sitting in jail and get to watch on the news how their dealer's distributor just got turned out.
That is not the terminology to use when you're referring to incarceration, sir. Getting turned out in any type of jail or prison setting.
Cut loose.
No, well, look, but they're not going to get let go. Okay, if you popped up on like the DEA or the FBI's radar for drugs,
you were there for something else as well.
And your primary criminal enterprise probably was the distribution of drugs, but there's almost always not just distribute. Let's even throw out all the distribution charges. Okay,
tax evasion.
Yeah, there's almost always.
Forget about the probable violence stuff. You know, there's probably some racketeering charges in there, maybe some RICO stuff. But boy, they love to get you on tax evasion.
Yeah, and even that. Okay, fine, throw out the tax evasion. Like, because of the cross currents that you run with, okay, there's all sorts of like aggravated assault and potentially even felony murder charges involved. Human trafficking. Yes. Well, I wouldn't go that far because there is a deliberate separation between those two things. But the point that I'm making is, I have been convicted of 17 crimes of the federal level, and Joe Biden has pardoned 5 of them, and they happen to be the 5 that were the smallest aggravating factor to my sentencing. But thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like he probably
it's pure pandering.
Yeah, he probably let like 12 people out of prison.
Right.
Like total.
But I tell you what, those 12 people with their shiny new pardons, those 12 people, just like a Biden frickin' rally, will vote for that pander bear.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's a. Yeah, I think we've beat that up pretty well. Like it's nothing but pandering.
I hope so. It's 8:00.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's nothing but pandering and and it's. I can't stress this enough. The federal government isn't coming after you for anything less than pounds with the amount you are in possession of. So. How quick do you think we could burn through these memes? Because it's still Columbus Day.
It is still Columbus Day. And I did want to say about Columbus Day, okay.
There's a meme for that.
Okay. Is it the next? Hey, damn it.
No, it's not the next one, but.
Oh man. We need to come back to this one. That's Boston Children's Hospital says children can know their transgender from the womb in deleted video. No feelings, no awareness, clump of cells, trans in the womb.
David Mathey says, yeah, my 45-year sentence got shortened by 5 years. Oh, yeah.
Okay, where's the one that... Oh, Jesus. Go get my purse.
Yes, it's a...
Because we've just been giving the Ukraine so much money. That's...
Babe, are you okay? You barely touched your sharp spookery.
Why does he have a lap full of wedged pepperonis?
Presented with alcohol, man.
Okay. Jesus Christ, Cameron. Stryker says PayPal was going to steal $2,500 per account for wrongthink. We're going to get to that. Probably Wednesday or Thursday this week. We're going to...
And here we go. It's Columbus Day. And look, I'm not about to sit here and tell you that Columbus was this great hero.
Yeah, but you know what? Here, it's not complicated. We're told over and over again two things by lefties who hate Christopher Columbus and tear his statue down, et cetera, et cetera. One, Christopher Columbus never actually landed in America. He landed in the
Caribbean.
The Caribbean somewhere.
Yeah, he's a loser. He's a shit discoverer.
He's a bad explorer. He didn't even get to where he was trying to go. He never actually made it to America. And he also India. Murdered all the Indians in America. There's this thing called an alibi. If you were murdered in Florida and 1,000 people saw me in New York at the same time, the court is going to say I didn't do it.
You don't have the correct suspect.
That's called an alibi, right? A crime requires means, motive, and opportunity. Opportunity includes physical co-location with the criminal act. If Columbus never made it to America, he didn't murder all the Indians. That's basic.
Yeah, I'm always baffled by this meme. Like, remember a few years ago, there was like it was a commercial on TV and it was passed around the internet, and it was just like the most cringy stuff where they would ask, like native people, what does Christopher Columbus make you think about? Next, Christopher Columbus makes me just feel stress and trigger, and it's like, fuck are you even talking about? First of all, let's assume Columbus did every terrible thing imaginable to like the Sioux tribe or whatever.
So we're assuming that he discovered America and actually landed somewhere
in America.
In America.
Exactly.
In Vespuccia?
Yes. Yes, in the United States of Vespuccia. But let's just assume that like he just came and like, man, like, you know, fucking 65% of the Sioux tribe just dead, awful, like Holocaust level stuff, okay? Y'all know that.
You mean
like,
pre-germ theory, germ blankets?
Look, you know that was like 500 years ago, right? If a thing that happened 500 years ago is triggering to you, the problem might not actually be the thing that happened 500 years ago.
Right.
Because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a thing that happened over 500 years ago. And you threw me. I was going to actually bring up the germ theory thing. Like, y'all, germ theory didn't exist until like the late 1700s. The early 1800s, someone would have to Google it. But it wasn't until like the age of enlightenment that smart people started going, you know, what if there's all these tiny organisms that live on our skin that are responsible for infections? Like the whole thing with the smallpox blankets. Even if you were to assume that you could catch smallpox from blankets, you're telling me that on a ship with extremely limited fucking space for things like fresh water, fresh water, food, sleeping arrangements, they had plenty of space for them smallpox blankets, buddy. Oh, and it's not like guys that sailed across the ocean were acutely aware of, you don't want one person on the boat to get sick. because then everybody on the boat gets sick. Right. That it's not like any of that is actual reality. So, am I saying you should go celebrate Columbus Day? No. But am I saying you should feel ashamed about it? No. And honestly, I think we're actually coming to the point to where it's time to start taking a few pages out of the left's playbook. Like, they routinely mock us for saying anything or holding a belief that is even somewhat stupid, ignorant, whatever, even if it's only by perception. Okay? Like, for example, thinking that maybe we should just leave marriage between a man and a woman. Oh, well, you're a bigot. Well, now we have Drag Queen Story Hour, so who was right? And
Rainbow dildo butt monkey.
yeah, exactly. So, when you see this, maybe, and look, it's your Facebook, your mileage may vary, okay? But when you see this meme today and over the next couple of days, make fun of the person posting it. Because I'm going to say, minimum 50-50 chance they don't understand Columbus never made it past the Caribbean. And honestly, if you are so worried about what some person or people did to your ancestors, the Native Americans, you better not have any fucking Apache friends. I'm just saying. There's a reason why the Apache are the bad guys in every cowboy movie ever. Because they were, and they liked it. They were proud of it.
I thought you were going to go to the Comanches on that one.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say the Apache. I meant to say the Comanche.
Love you, baby.
Oh, man, all red people look alike. Whatever.
Woo!
Y'all, that was a joke.
You're lucky we've already had our hot coffee refill this morning.
Look, people, that was a joke. I word whisker. I meant to say Comanche. Obviously, all red people don't look alike. Is it clear that I'm engaged in sarcasm?
Well, at least you didn't accidentally call her a Navajo. That's not the one you want.
Well, at least
in the Midwest, it's illegal to pick up things off the street like beer bottles and beer cans because they're Navajo cultural artifacts.
Okay, we're gonna get. Are you gonna honestly tell me that the Apaches are not badasses that you don't fuck with and they're proud of it?
The Comanches.
God damn it.
Be safe.